Welcome to the Pep Talk Podcast, Season 2, Episode 5. I'm your host, Coach Jay, and the mission of this podcast is to cheer you on and to coach you up. And today we are doing that by talking about confidence. How would you rate your confidence levels? High, low? I promise you that by the end of this episode, we're going to give you some tools to evaluate that. And I say we because we are continuing the conversation that I had last week with podcaster and coach Paul Levitin, where we talked about self-sabotage and his acronym SLUMP that can help you break through the chains of self-sabotage. But before I go any further, have you had your dose of pep today? No? Don't worry. I've got you. Let's go. So like I said, in this episode, we're going to be talking about a couple of things, but confidence, building confidence is one of those things. So I want to start off, before we get into the interview, I want to tell you a story. So after I'd been teaching about 7, 8-ish years, I started to really understand that whereas my parents both taught for about 30 years, I was not made of that same stuff. I knew that I wouldn't make it 30 years plus. I started teaching in my 30s. So I could not imagine myself being a teacher for the next 30 years. And so I began wondering about some of the other things in life that I wanted to do. And while I could imagine those things, I really had a problem going after those things. And so my wife was gracious enough to allow me to hire a coach. Y'all have heard me say it over and over again. People need coaches. People need coaches. And so I hired a coach by the name of Manny Hall, and we met for about 7 sessions. And around that 6th or that 7th session, I'd really had the inkling that I wanted to move into the coaching space. I had purchased a program to get a coaching certification, and I hadn't done anything with it yet. And I remember Manny telling me, Jay, you're ready. Start coaching. And I'm looking at him like, what? What in the world would ever make you believe that I am ready to be a coach? Dude, I'm getting coached by you right now. And he said, man, what you have to believe is that you have to jump out and do this. And even if it doesn't work right away, you have to believe that you will be okay. You have to have the confidence in yourself to believe that if it doesn't go okay, you'll figure it out. Or if it does go okay, you'll figure out how to scale it and make it and take it to where you want it to go. But you have to believe that even if it doesn't work out right away, that's not the end of your life. That's not the end of days. The apocalypse is not coming. You will be okay and you will figure it out. And I can tell you that even as I am still figuring it out, I have the confidence to know that it's going to happen, right? And even as things have started moving, I still have confidence to know that there's more that I can do. There's better that I can do. And even if this risk doesn't turn out well, I'm not going to die because of it. My life won't be ruined because of it. I'll figure out a way back. I can figure out the way back to it. That confidence piece has been a game changer for me in light of not just starting a coaching practice, but also starting a podcast and looking to get into the speaking space and the different things that I want to do with my life. Confidence has been key. And the reason that I mentioned that story at the top of this episode is because my guest, Paul Levitin, we're going to be talking about confidence to start this next piece of the conversation off, and it's going to say some things that I strongly identify with, and I want you to listen and I want you to grasp those things, because if confidence is something that you are struggling with, I believe that what he's going to say is going to help you find a way to scale that obstacle. Okay. So before we get there, just real quick, I want to thank everybody for the feedback that we got off of the first part of this interview from last week. If you have not listened to that episode, you need to go back and listen to episode 4, because I promise you, y'all, it was so good. If you are a self sabotager, which I think all of us are at some point, but if you are a self sabotager, that is the episode for you. I heard great things about it, so go back and listen. But also, your ratings and reviews mean the world. Okay, so wherever you listen, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, y'all, the more reviews and subscribers and ratings that we have, the more likely it is for the Pep Talk podcast to get pushed out to people who might need the message that we're bringing, the encouragement that we're bringing. So if you would do us a favor, leave a rating, leave a review. If you're deriving any value from this podcast at all, leave a rating, leave a review. Let us know who you are. And without further ado, here is part 2 of my interview with coach and fellow podcaster Paul Levitin. We'll be back after. Peace. Yeah, I like that slump. That piece about the shoulds. I tell people that's a dirty 4-letter word, man. It messes with so many people. And then the clarity piece. I think not having clarity is, I think that's the one thing that keeps so many people stuck in the situation that they find themselves in. Um, I'm sick of my job, but I don't know what I want to do after this. Or I don't like who I am, but I don't know who I want to become. Like, at some point, you have to be willing to sit down with yourself and go about the process of evaluating who you are, evaluating who you want to be, and then really looking at what you engage in on a daily basis to see if everything that you're doing and what you're thinking, if it's serving that future view of who you want yourself to be. So that's great. All right. So you also do a lot of work with people as far as confidence goes. So I'm curious because there are a lot of definitions out there. You can go on social media. There are countless coaches with reels and TikToks about confidence and everything. How do you define confidence? Like if I'm coming to you and saying, you know, you know, coach, I want confidence. How do you define confidence? Like if we're having a session, what would you tell me?
Yeah, to me, and this is a little bit different than I think a lot of people look at confidence, especially self-confidence, right? So people will say, I like that you didn't even say that, you just said confidence, which is why a distinction that I actually like, because I think it's just a deep-seated feeling that things will be okay. I think to me
Hmm.
that at its deepest level, that's what confidence is. So, you know, I used to say, if you're talking about self-confidence, right? It's like the feeling that I am going to be all right. If I believe that, then I can do anything, right? So again, people talk about like, oh, like I want to be confident so that, right, I can go talk to a girl, or be confident so that I can, put in for this raise, or the whatever the thing is, But if I know that I'm going to be okay, no matter what, whether the girl rejects me or she says yes, or if I raise my hand in that meeting and everything goes well, or my boss calls me out and makes me and chastises me in front of the whole thing. If I know that I'm going to be okay, no matter what, out of all of that, it unlocks everything, and I no longer have to fear anything. So that gives me the inherent
Ah.
confidence to take the action. So, I'll use myself as an example. I recently, not recently, it's about a year ago now, I quit my job. When I was working, I was a trainer at the gym. I was managing the gym. I had a full-time job. It was a good career. I had the 401k, the this, that, a career trajectory for the next, I could have stayed there and help them build out their other gyms for the next 20 years and retired. And I decided to quit and go all in on my podcast and just travel and just live out of my car and do different things. And people would always go like, oh, like that's so cool, like that's so inspiring, like, like how did you like have the guts to do that? And it's just that, like, I just believe that I will be okay. I
Hmm.
didn't have an answer for what was going to happen or how I would be okay, but that's how deep that belief is ingrained in me, that whatever problem arises, I will figure it out, or I will have the capacity to figure it out. And if I can do that, then I don't have to be afraid to do anything, and I can do whatever I want, because I can know that whatever happens, if it goes right or if it goes wrong, or if it goes up or if it goes down or if it goes sideways, I have within me the ability to figure it out, and that it will work out because of that.
Okay. So That's interesting. And I never really thought about it that way. But a lot of times we are looking for confidence so that we can do something. But if I'm following you correctly, the self confidence piece is not about anything outside of me. It is a belief that no matter what comes my way, if I want the confidence to talk to the girl and she rejects me, the self confidence says it doesn't matter because I'm going to be okay. That's a piece that so many people are missing. That that simple belief, and that part I don't hear touted a lot. When people come and they're asking about confidence, it's confidence so that I can apply for the job, or confidence so that I can, you know, follow my dream. Okay. But what happens if that dream takes you 10, 20 years? Like, then what? The self confidence piece, I love that because that is a self sustaining belief that, like you said, no matter what comes, no matter what happens, I have the capacity within myself to figure it out, to figure out how to make it work. Um, and just the self efficacy that builds in a person, that is something that is light years beyond what a promotion can get for you, or what a romantic interest can get for you, or even what accomplishing your dreams will get for you. Because I mean, man, that's good. That's really, really amazing.
Yeah, and it's exactly that, right? It's kind of like you're starting at the end, right? It's
Yeah.
like this is a hack, right? It's like, again, I don't need those things will now come as a result because I will have the confidence, so I will do the thing, I will take the action, I will put myself out there more, I will raise my hand more and speak up more, and I will do all the things because I know that I can't fail because failure is impossible.
Yes.
So, and if I know that I'll always be okay, I have no reason not to take the risk. And everyone knows, right? Reward comes at the other side of risk, but
Mm-hmm.
we're too afraid to take it. But if I believe in my heart that there's no risk too great because nothing can set me back because I'll always bounce back, I'll always be okay, it gives me no reason not to ever take it. And, I said, I like that you didn't even say self-confidence before you said confidence, because this is something I've been toying with a lot in my head recently. It's like, I'll go a step further, and it's like, it's not even about me being okay. It's that I believe in my heart, again, that everything will be okay, right? So going back to the shoulds that we were talking
Hmm.
about before, things happen exactly like they're supposed to. Everything in life is exactly as it's supposed to be because it is the way it is. So what I said before is that if you have a should or supposed to, you're arguing with reality. So things can only be the way that they are. Like, I am where I am in my life. It doesn't matter good, bad, right or wrong, should, shouldn't, or anything like that. So if I can accept that no matter what, no matter if it's good, no matter if it's bad, no matter if it's right, no matter if I like it or don't like it, that this is where I am, then I can also believe that things are going to work out because that's the only way that it can, right? Like, I have to believe that because
Yeah.
I can't argue against it. It's like, I can't. I wish I had more money, or it's not fair. I lost my job. It's like, I did lose my job. Now what? Right? Like, okay. Like, and the universe, I have to believe, is going to figure out a way for it to work out for me. Because not believing that just leads me down a dark path.
Yeah.
So if I can believe that and I can trust in that, then it's not just about me, like it's going to work out for me. It's like it's going to work out for everyone. And it's going to work out because in the way that it was supposed to work out, right? Meaning, like, some people might be like, you can say like, oh, well, like, my grandmother didn't have like such a great life. It's like, but that was how it was supposed to be for her. Like, like, like the sad reality is, like, some
Hmm.
people get the shit end of the stick of life, it's like, and that's like, unfortunate. But how do I deal with that? How do I, again, do I fight against that? Do I say, like, again, it's not fair, or do I live my life with whatever? As a,
Right.
so plenty of people, there's homeless people on the street who are happier than billionaires.
Yes.
So it's like, once you understand that, it's like you have within you at any given time. I know it's like cliche and annoying and people don't like hearing it like this, but that is the God's honest truth. There are people who literally have no home, no money, and they are happy. And
Yeah.
then there are people who have $1 billion and private jets and they kill themselves. They literally commit suicide.
Yeah.
So, like, nothing makes sense. And you have within you the capacity at any given moment to accept what you have, be grateful for it, and realize that you have the capacity to overcome any struggles that are put in your way. And if you can just realize that it's already there, it's already within you. I don't have to do anything to give it to you. It's happening right now. It's inside of you. It's like, what do you have to worry about at that point?
Pep Squad, I hope that you're taking notes because Paul is absolutely giving you all some diamonds. I can't even think of another type of gem, but he's giving you diamonds right now. And this is all so valuable when we talk about what your mindset is and what your motivation is and what inspires you. Um, Having that confidence piece and even going back to the self-sabotage, these are things we talked about in season 1, and I think that you're really fleshing them out in a very real way, Paul, and I appreciate that. uh, Question for you: what is a healthy, happy human?
Yeah, that's a tough one, and it is obviously something my whole brand, my whole thing is built on. But it's tricky because, again, what is health? What is happiness? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Health. Health to one person is being skinny. Health to another person is being strong. Health to another person is being cancer free. Health to
Mm-hmm.
another person is being able. To me, health is just about a quality of life physically. Right? There's a level of, again, I know, people talk about, fat shaming or this or that. It's like, I don't care about what you look like. I don't care about anything. But there is a level of the human body is your vessel that you get to go through this 60, 70, 80, 100 years, whatever you get on this planet, you get your one body.
Yeah.
So health to me is taking care of that body so that it is the best possible steward of your journey through this time. So it's just like taking to your car, needs oil changes and you need the tires rotated and you need to put the right gas in it and things like that. Health to me is taking care of your body so that you are able to live life in a way that feels good to you.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's not about looking a certain way because Instagram says that you're supposed to look a certain way. It
Yes.
is about being strong so that when you're 70, you can pick your grandkids up and throw them up in the air and play with them. And you can continue to walk and you're not in a wheelchair when you're going to the park with your grandkids and things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to
Yeah.
me, that's what health is. And then happy to me is the mental side of that. Right. So to me, health and happiness are the same side. The opposite side of the same coin. Health is the physical side of that. Happy is the mental side of that. Am I mentally clear? Am I in a good place so that I can enjoy? So if my body is healthy, so that I can enjoy this journey. Because to me, I don't particularly believe in any religion or anything like that. I don't know what happens after we die. Maybe there's heaven, maybe there's hell, maybe we get reincarnated. Who knows? I don't know, and I don't think we'll ever know. So what I do know is that if I don't know that, what I get is, again, these 60, 70, 80 years, 100 years, if I'm lucky. And I want to then make the most of it. I want to enjoy that time because why wouldn't I? If this is all I get, I might as well enjoy it. So happy to me is just about having the capacity with what goes on up here in the 6 inches between your ears
Mm-hmm.
to make the most of that time. You can't have one without the other, right? No one will ever truly be happy if their physical body isn't able to help them move through this life. And no level of physical fitness will matter if mentally you are unwell. So
Yeah.
those two things are, to me, the end all be all of everything. Because if you have both of those, then again, it doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter if you're, in a relationship or you just got dumped. It doesn't matter if you're good with you, then everything else is just an added bonus and you don't have to worry about it. And then it's just like, again, you get to be the best version of yourself. And that, again, paradoxically, is the version of yourself that attracts the mate, that attracts the money, that people want to hang out with, that has
Hmm.
the friends, because you're just the best version of yourself.
This feels like a a statement or a challenge for us to take ownership, um, and to become active participants in every aspect of our lives and quit allowing life to happen to us, uh, but to really, step up and play that main character role in our lives. What do you think?
Yeah, I love all of those words, words that I love. Active participation, ownership. Right? I say a lot, being in the driver's seat of life versus being
Yeah.
in the passenger seat. A lot of people are letting life happen to them, passive participants in life. Where, and again, like, this is not a should thing. I don't. This is not me telling someone how they should live their life. This is just me presenting the options to you. And to
Yeah.
me, once you understand the options, it's like, well, if I have an option of being in the driver's seat versus being in the passenger seat, if I have the option of letting life happen to me or taking an active role in guiding my life, those are the only two options, right? It's A or
Yeah.
B. There's no in between. It's like, how could I choose the other one? Right? If I have a choice between being healthy and being not healthy, a choice between working on myself and not working on myself, a choice between, again, just closing my eyes and blinking and waking up and it's 10 years later and I've just gone through the motions of the same job with the same stuff that I hate and not done anything.
Yeah.
Or I take the other road where I work on myself, where I do the hard things, where I wake up and I put in the work, not because I should, not because of what I get, but just because that is what a good life is built on.
Mm-hmm.
And a very simple answer for me. It's not even an answer. It's just like there's the only way I can do it. At that point, it's like it's binary.
I love that. I love it. I love it. Um, okay. So where do you see uh, where do you see your life, your brand, this business, this mission? Where do you see it carrying you in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, I mean, ideally, I just get to talk like this, and people will listen. I mean, that really is like, it really is like, I want to. I have my own podcast. I do
Mm-hmm.
hundreds of podcasts every year. I'm trying to get more into public speaking. So I've done some online speaking on, like, courses and things like that. But it really is just, I don't want to like weirdly toot my own horn or something like that. But I think I have something to say. And I do this a lot where I talk to people and I talk to podcasters like you or people on the street, and they sit there and they nod their head and they go, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And like, yeah, I've never heard it like that. And yeah, that makes complete sense. And I think that my superpower, and I've been told this by other people, and what I've seen is that I can take a lot of complex concepts and distill them down in a way that's very understandable for people.
I agree.
And my goal is to just, I would hope that, again, when I present it this way, it just becomes not even a choice anymore, right? Like, if you can sit and listen to this conversation and then go, I still don't want to do the thing, then it's like, okay, then you've chosen that. Like, then
Right.
that, like, like then, and that's your choice. You're a human. No one's telling you there's a right way to live. But my hope is that you listen to a conversation like this, you hear this and you go, okay, like, he's right. It's do or don't. It's yes or no. It's like, get moving or start dying. And
Mm-hmm.
like, I want to choose the better. I want to choose to move. And like that, it's really that simple. And like, I want to make this so simple that it's impossible not to do, right? That's what, as a coach, that's always my goal. Yeah. I was just having a conversation with a new client today, and I was like, the only way change happens is if we make it so easy that you don't have an excuse not to do it, right? Going back to our earlier conversation, your brain is always going to try to self-sabotage you.
Yeah.
So again, there's all the information out there. Nothing that I'm saying is new. And it's all just regurgitated information of that I've taken in from reading all the books and doing all, but I've done that work already, so that someone else can listen to an hour-long podcast like this and get 10 years worth of studying that I've done, and
Yeah.
hopefully take action on it much quicker than I was able to.
Yeah. I love that. Um, and my hope, and one of the reasons why I was excited about having you on the podcast, is that after listening to your podcast and your content, I loved how you were able to take these topics and were able to kind of drill them down to like the basic tenets of their substance. Uh, because I mean, it's one thing to sit and to listen to you drill these things down, but like you said, it's something totally different to take action on them. And when we already know that we have to overcome the antiquated thinking methods of our brain and the habits that we've had in place for however many years we've been alive to this date, you know, they in education we say keep it simple, keep it simple, stupid. The simpler that things are, the more likely we are to take action on them. And to anybody listening right now, my hope is that from these conversations, you're not just listening and you're not just taking notes, but that you're actually putting a plan in place, that you're seeking the clarity that learning about self-sabotage and self-confidence, the freedom that's inherent in them, and that you allow it and you actively take a role in making the changes in your life that will help you to have the kind of life that you want. And so I'm thankful that you're here, Paul. I really am. Now, the last thing that I want to do with you, the way that I close out every podcast is I call it giving a pep talk. to the audience because we're the Pep Talk podcast. And so we cheer people on and we coach them up. I believe everybody needs a big cheerleader, but everybody also needs a coach to help them elevate. So I want to give you 2 minutes to give your best pep talk to anybody who's listening right now. Whatever's on your heart, whatever's on your mind, I'm going to mute my mic, and this is just going to be all you uh, giving authentically from your heart, from your mind, from wherever it's coming from. Can you do that for us?
Oh yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right. I am muting my mic right now.
All right, I appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity, and if I go a little bit over 2 minutes, I can talk a lot, so feel free to cut me off. But I think that the pep talk is, to anyone listening, what my whole point is that, like, going back to the beginning of this conversation, talking about your brain is always against you and it's always looking to self-sabotage, and like this is what you're up against. Like, it can seem almost defeating, but I don't want it to be. I think I mean all of that to be encouraging. And my point in explaining that, why I have to start every conversation like that, is you have to know what you're up against. Because most people think that they are inherently flawed or broken. They think, oh, they can do this. All these other people at the gym are getting fit. All of these other people are getting money. I'm broke. I'm this, I'm that. But you don't understand that you are playing a game that's rigged. You are fighting against a system that is built for you to fail. And that's not to say that you can't succeed, but that's the point, is that it's not you that's messed up. It is the system. It is your brain is playing on outdated system software. This society is built for you to fail. Again, there's Uber Eats will deliver a hamburger in 30 seconds, and Netflix will keep playing, and your phone is meant to addict you, and the groceries are expensive, more expensive than they've ever been, and divorce rates are higher than they've ever been. All of these things are set up for you to fail. Again, not to be pessimistic, but that is to be encouraging, to say that all you have to do is try, and you can be the person who succeeds. That stuff is weighing against you, makes you think that there's no point in trying. It's an illusion. That is what you have to get through. All of that is true. It is not fair. It's built for you to fail. All of these other people have the results you already want. They didn't work half as hard as you, and they got twice as far in half the amount of time. It sucks, and that's true. And yet you can still do it with just the slightest amount of effort. Like, you can do it, and not only can you do it, it is your literal birthright, right? A happy, healthy human, to me, that is everyone's right. That's why I'm so passionate about this. This is not something hard that I've figured out here. I just figured it out. A base level of physical fitness, a base level of mental work in terms of meditation, reading, whatever. You don't have to be the next Stephen Hawking reading every day. You don't have to be the next Arnold Schwarzenegger in the gym, but a base level of doing what's good for you, what just feels good in your body, will take you so far and improve your quality of life. And that ripple effect will improve every other person around you. I don't have to think about anyone else in the world. This is me just being the best version of me. Like, if someone takes something from this, then that's great. But I do this because it makes me happy to spread this message. And by spreading that message, other people will be affected. And in the same way, by you exercising, eating well, reading, listening to podcasts, working on yourself, doing whatever, you will be a better father, a better son, a better daughter, a better sister, a better cousin, a better boss, a better employee, a better whatever, and that will make the world better. So all we have to do is get out of the illusion, or that these things are holding us back. They're trying to hold us back, but they don't have to. Take the small daily actions that you need to take that, again, will make you feel better, and realize that you can't fail. Be confident in the fact that everything will work out. And if you do that, and your partner does that, and your kids do that, all of a sudden, a rising tide raises all ships, and we're all in a much, much better place.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, Pep Squad, you all should be ready to run through a wall right now, because you know that you cannot fail. And even if you hit your head on the wall, you're still going to be okay, because that's the self-confidence piece. Paul Levitin, thank you so much for inspiring us, man, for motivating us, for challenging us, for educating us. And do us a favor and tell us how we can tap into what you're doing, where we can follow you. Just kind of give us your rundown.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And again, the place that I'm most passionate about, where I'm most active right now, is just my podcast. I want to give all of this away for free, and I want people to listen and share it ideally. So the Happy Healthy Human podcast is anywhere podcasts are found. Listen to it. There's over 250 episodes at this point, so there's plenty for you to go back and check out. If someone wants to get in contact with me directly, it's very easy. I'm on all social media platforms. It's just my name, at Paul Levitin, across all platforms. So if you have any questions about any of the stuff that we talked about, or you want to learn more, or actually pick my brain about something, shoot me an Instagram DM or something, and I'd love to chat.
Awesome. Paul, thank you so much, man. You've blessed the podcast today, man, and we appreciate you. Now, Pep Squad, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I'm going to give you some final thoughts, and we will close out this episode. This has been the Pep Talk Podcast with your boy, Coach Jay, and we will be right back. Okay, so there is so much to unpack about that conversation, and I just don't have the time and space to do it right here. But, however, I've just started a newsletter on Substack, and in case you were looking for my insights onto the episodes, Wednesdays and Thursdays of every week, Wednesday or Thursday of every week, I will be releasing a blog where I talk about some things with the episodes, or whatever tends to catch my eye or my attention for that week. So I'll post a link in the episode notes, the episode description, and you can subscribe. I would love to have you on that with me. Now, one thing that I want to address with what Paul was saying was when he said that a rising tide lifts all ships. Here's what he means by that. As you, as me, as we go about the business of being the best possible person that we can be, we're putting in the work. We are becoming active participants in our lives. As we go about the process of doing that, people are going to notice. And it probably won't be the people that you're around every day, right? Because we can become callous to the people that we see every day. But there are people that you never pay attention to who notice everything that you're doing. When you lose 5 pounds, they know you lost it. When you are happy, they know you're happy. When you're sad, they know you're sad. And they may never come up to you and say, oh, you lost 5 pounds, congratulations. But I promise you, they've noticed. And so when you are improving yourselves, there are people who will notice. And you improving yourself will be that stimulus that they need to improve themselves. It was Shakespeare who said, all of the world is a stage. And I promise you that there is somebody out there who is watching you every day. And your journey, your pathway, your purpose is giving them life, and it's giving them the charge that they need, the excitement that they need to begin making improvements. So when you shine your light, you free other people to do the same. A rising tide lifts all ships. And that's one of the things that I love about this podcast space, is that I believe that with the encouragement that we're bringing every week, I believe that it's making a difference, and that people who don't even listen to the podcast yet, their ship is being lifted by the encouragement and the motivation that we're bringing every week. And so here's what I want to challenge you to do. I want to challenge you to not just listen to this conversation. Okay, go back and listen to episode 4, come back to episode 5, and I want you to pick one thing out that you can take action on today. Maybe it's a piece of slump. Maybe it's something that we talked about with confidence or becoming a healthy, happy human. Whatever that is, I want you to grab onto that, and I want you to put it into action, because you can listen all day long, but nothing happens unless you take action. The Bible says to be a doer of the word, not just a hearer. A hearer only hears and then it's gone. But when you do, when you take action on what you hear, on what you learn, it sticks with you and it begins to grow roots, and eventually it bears fruit. So find something that you can latch onto, that you can put action behind, and then put it into action this week. And also let us know what it is. Join our Pep Talk podcast community group on Facebook to continue the conversation there. The link is in the show notes. Hit me up at the Pep Podcast at gmail.com or on Instagram at _JB Speaks. I want to know what you are putting into practice for this week. We want to be doers, not just hearers. All right, so as we wrap up this episode, I want to tell you to come back next week because I have a really great solo episode coming for you. I have the topic in my head. It's going to be great. Thank y'all for hanging out with this episode 5 of season 2 of the Pep Talk podcast. I'm your host, Coach Jay, and this has been your weekly coaching session. And y'all know how we like to close it out. Keep it love, keep it light, and keep it peppy. We'll see you next week on the Pep Talk podcast. Y'all be blessed. Peace.